Shalom, honoring your wife. Judaism has a very beautiful tradition that on Erev Shabbat, on Friday evenings, men recite Proverbs chapter 31 to their wives. So if you have a Bible, go find Proverbs chapter 31 or get it online, and you'll see it's a beautiful proverb. It's also often read at the funerals of old Jewish ladies. I'll just tell you a little bit about it. I'll recite a little bit of it. You can get the flavor of it. It's called Eshet Chayil in Hebrew, sometimes translated as a woman of valor or a good wife. A good wife who can find, her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and nothing shall he lack. She rendered him good and not evil all the days of her life. She's robed in strength and dignity, and cheerfully faces whatever may come. Her tongue is guided by kindness, her mouth is wisdom. She extends her hand to the poor, and eats not the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her, her husband too and praises her. Many women have done superbly, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a God-revering woman is much to be praised. Place before her the fruit of her hands, wherever people gather, her deeds speak her praise. Eshet Chayil mi'imtza. And there's a little tune to it too. If you ever want to learn the Hebrew, Eshet Chayil mi'imtza, Rachmim ni'michra, da 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 da. Da 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 da. That's kind of how the tune that goes with the proverb that I learned anyway for Eshet Chayil. Beautiful tune. Now, for honoring our kids on Friday nights, we put our hands on our sons' heads and say, Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chemenashe. Who are Ephraim and Manasseh? Well, they were the grandsons of Jacob, and the Torah says that when Jacob came down with his entourage to Egypt, where Joseph had been living, and they reconciled, and then Jacob welcomes his two grandsons, and he blesses them by saying them, and you should bless the Jewish boys after this, Israel, with this prayer. And then we add the priestly benediction. Yivarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God lift up God's countenance to you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God lift up God's countenance to you and grant you a life of peace. And now for girls, and another question is, why do we say Ephraim and Manasseh? Well, one of the old stories is that because it's the first two brothers who didn't fight in the Bible. Cain and Abel, of course. Cain killed Abel, and then Noah and his brothers were skeptical at first, but then the family was in the ark. Then you have the story of Abraham and his brothers. He left one of his brothers died, and then you have their sons, Isaac and Ishmael, didn't get along, and you had Jacob and Esau, the next generation, they didn't get along, and then you had, of course, Joseph and his brothers didn't get along. The first generation of Jewish boys, brothers who got along were Ephraim and Manasseh. Then, for girls, we say, may God make you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Yivarech, Adonai, Yisimech, Elohim, Kisara, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. May God make you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And then you use the priestly benediction. And it's a beautiful family time. If you have, a immediate family like that, to offer a blessing to your spouse or your significant other, and for your children, and it's a beautiful way to begin the Sabbath.